Hello everyone, this is video number 4. In this video we're going to continue the discussion we had in previous video regarding the uh, data structure in Para3D, and also we'll see how we can access the parameters of the array members from Para3D interface within the Para3D node. To begin, we're going to create a parametric array from this box. So we're going to select it, and then we go over the create button and create a parametric array. For this particular exercise, we're going to set all the 3 dimensions to something more than 1. Let's say we're going to have 6, 4, and 7. And we're going to keep this array type as copy. We're going to talk about this in just a minute. And then we say create. If you notice, all the objects of the array are still in the same place, and the reason for that is we haven't set any controller for the position of the items. I'm going to go ahead and assign a controller to the position. Please ignore this part. I won't explain anything for the linear controller at the moment. This is just to get the objects in a proper format so I can explain other things around. As we entered, we have 6, 4, and 7. We have 6 rows and 4 columns and 7 planes of boxes. Okay. Well, I'm just going to take out the original object. Now let's take a look at our Para3D settings. We'll take that controller out for a moment now. We don't need it. Alright. The first thing you need to know is that when you array something, Para3D goes through the parameters of that object, and it search for all kind of parameters that naturally can be animated within 3D Studio Max. And if it can find such a parameter, it will list that parameter within the Para3D node icon. All the parameters are categorized in a category called all, and within that we got two main category is a transform and object. No matter what kind of objects you array, you always have this transform category in your Para node. Remember that we're just talking about parametric array. For parametric meshes and parametric shapes, you don't have this transform actually. And then there are other parameters that are object related parameters, and they can be seen from the modified panel even. And those are that can be animated or already listed here. As you can see, there are 2 other parameters. They're usually the generating mapping coordinate, the real map size. They're not shown here because these are Boolean values and they can be animated, and that's why they're not listed here. For this particular array, we have a parameter of the boxes, and then you can see the length, width, and height is listed here. So I can go through the list, I can check each one. It gives me the initial value of the parameter before the array. From here I can directly control the width of the boxes. As I change this number, this affects all objects in the array. You can control the way this parameter works by choosing the apply settings only on selected objects. So now I can go here and I can select bunch of objects from the array, and I can change the length of them to 2. So it only works on the selected object. I can also use copy paste button to copy the parameter from one of the array members and then paste it on others. Let's say I come over here, I select this box, I change the width of that to 5. Let's go less than 2, 1.5, And then we go here for the width. We're just gonna copy that value, and then we switch to apply settings on all objects option, and then we paste it. So basically I copy a parameter from one object and I paste it on all the objects in array. Now let's go back to our previous discussion and brings up the indexes. In Para3D there is a controller that can actually give us the access to the indexes of the objects. The indexes of the objects are the location of the objects in three-dimensional array. You go ahead and right click and then create a new controller. When you do that, it brings up the controller library and shows the list of the controller that you can use for your Para3D settings. The first one is the array variable, and it's one of the most important controller in Para3D. Go ahead and drag and drop it in your Para3D setting, and I'm gonna assign this controller to the height property of the box, which means I'm gonna control the property, the height property of the boxes in the array using this controller. Instead of coming here and do some changes manually, I'm gonna control that value using this controller. That's what all Para3D is about. It's all about controlling parameters with other controllers, or controlling even controller parameters with other controllers. To do that, since we already created the controller, you can go ahead over the output spot, this the circle in the top left corner of the controller, click and drag your cursor. When it goes out of the controller icon area, it shows a wire is coming out from the output. And then we go over the input spot of the height parameter. It shows a green spot, which means that it's alright, you can connect the controller to that channel or parameter. When you roll over that, you just need to click one more time so you can connect this controller to that height, to that parameter. Well, let's go back to our controller and see there are some options that we can choose from it. The first three options are actually giving us the size of the array in 3 different dimensions. These are the counts of the array: count 1, count 2, and count 3. Let's say if I put this in count 1, I'm going to get the size of the array in first dimension. So as you know, the size of the array in first dimension is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For all boxes here, the height is going to be set to 6. Let's update the array. You can use this update button to apply the setting, and then you see that, as you can see, all my boxes are getting 6 in height. Now if you switch to the second option and then you update, you get all over 4. That is the size of the array in the second dimensions, since we have 4 boxes in this dimension. And if we go and switch to count 3, we're going to get 7, because there are 7 planes of boxes in our array. And the next option is our indexes, and then it's very interesting, because if we switch to index 1, for example, you get different height for each item. And then look at this. The first item here is receiving 1 from the controller, because the controller returns the location of the item in first dimension, which is index 1. As we know, as we learned from previous video, the index 1 for the first item is 1, for the second item is 2, and for the third item is 3, and so on. And that's why as I go through the first dimension of my array, object height increasing by 1 number. And if I choose this index 2, which is the location of the item in the second dimension, it goes the other way. So here I have 1, the second item is giving me 2, 3, 4, and so on. To see this better, I'm going to hide the objects. Let's set all of these height to 1, and then I'm gonna hide them for now, so you can see. Also for length and width and height, everything goes to 1. Okay, and now we're just going to change the height using these values. So you can see that the index 2 goes this way, and the index 1 goes the other way. And when you choose the index 3, you actually see all these are receiving 1, because the index 3 for all these objects in the same plane is equal to 1. Well, I hope you understand the idea of indexes and how you can access them using the array variable controller. For the next video, we're going to do a couple more exercise, more interesting, and then we'll see how we can integrate the indexes with other controllers to create more interesting results. Thanks for watching, and if you have any question, please feel free to post it on a forum.